Good morning. Well, another impromptu project. For a few days I've noticed that my truck has been driving very strangely. When I put my canoe onto the truck, that's when I really noticed that there was these clunking sounds. And I thought maybe the canoe has done something. There was this weird driving vibration. And I even came home and checked my tires and put some air in them to see I thought maybe one of them was going flat or something. So, but it wasn't a flat, because after I took the canoe off, the problem persisted, and it was a very obvious thing. When you'd start off, there'd be a clunking sound, and you could get those clunking sounds when you'd stop somewhere or something like that. So bit by bit I defined there was something going on with the back wheels, and in particular the back brakes. I felt maybe one of the wheels was locked up or something like that. So what I did is I got myself one of my jacks, and I lifted up the truck on the center underneath there on the axle, right underneath, and lifted up both tires off the ground, put it in neutral, and tried to rotate both tires, and discovered that the passenger side rear tire was locked up. The brakes are jamming up in there. And so I watched a video on YouTube, and the video told me, I actually thought it was sort of funny, because the video starts off and their reason for fixing their brake is because the back wheel is jammed up with the brakes. And their solution was not to go in there, find out what's wrong and fix it. It was just replace everything, So, and I'm sort of that mind. My brakes are old. They haven't been touched in years since I've had this truck. And with this problem in mind, I figured, let's do that. And I said, let's go replace the one side. And I felt a bit uneasy about that, because the one side, then you have one good brake and one bad brake. And when I bought the parts, some of them came for both sides. So there was really just a little bit of extra cost to get what I needed for the both sides. And so here it is. Here's my pile. This is my pile of stuff that I'm getting, and I'm going to do my brakes on my truck. Now, the thing is, I've done brakes before, and they are the most angering of jobs possible. And the reason is springs. There are these tiny little springs in there, and they're usually fairly strong. And pliers aren't usually adequate for the job of doing the jobs that you're required to do. It's a real problem. And so you'll end up going bang! And anyway, it happens too much. So one of the things I saw in the video I watched on YouTube was a good video. Showed me that I could buy some tools for those particular things. And my logic is, if I take it to the mechanic, they're going to charge me $300-400 like that. It's now $85 an hour for their labor. So I figure I may as well buy these special tools. Here's a couple of them here. There's one right here, and there's another one like right here. And these things are about like $7-8 a piece. So I mean, that's not crazy. It's not spending out a ton of money, but the work it's going to save me, because they're designed specifically to deal with some of these problems, in particular with the spring problems. This one is a spring problem thing, and I've got another one for the other spring problems. So hopefully those will help reduce the agonies, because playing and resetting with those things you can end up spending an hour and a half, mucking around with stupid little springs, and at some point that can fray your temper a little bit. Well, I got the drum brake off, the drum cylinder, this thing here. That was not easy, but not impossible. Easier than the nuts. So far, everything that I've done has been difficult. But I have managed to get my way through without getting too upset. Now, my next step is to try to get these guys off. And we're going to see how lucky. I've got my special tool here, and I hope it works. We're going to give it a try. Not sure. There we go. Look at that. That was a half-hour job before. Okay, so yes, that was worth it. That was worth whatever $8 I paid for that. Because I'm telling you, doing that was a killer before. So, another special tool. And it's to take off these. It's going to be fun using this, that's for sure. Not sure how to use that, that's for sure. So this is a tool that is going to baffle me. Wait. Oh, that's just nice. It's just too small to fit into that one. Luckily, I got another one. I think it's bigger. No, it's not bigger. All right, let's try that again. What's the point of going on a pin if you can't even fit on the pin? That is rather ridiculous. Okay, so let's give up on that. Let's just try with a pair of pliers. You see that snapping off there? That's what happens all the time when you use these guys here. I have a feeling that belongs to him. Yes, it does. Look at that, she's almost there. If I can straight the screwdriver here and help it along. There we go. Caught onto the bottom of spring. Alright, so that goes there. Alright, I'm going to try this tool again. There's got to be a way it works. That is not working. Try it like that. No. That is just so stupid. I cannot use that thing. All right. Let's grab ourselves a straight screwdriver and a good pair of pliers and see what we can do with that. Doing there. Okay, I know what I'm going to try to do. Just pull it off. Just use. There we go. Brute strength. Alright, I've taken off all the brake parts. I have put them down on the ground all around. And I got myself an old paint tray, which I'm going to use as my oil drip tray. So as I undo, the last step I've got is to take this part off here. Sorry, just bring that back up there. This part over here, which is the brake caliper or cylinder that extends and activates the brakes. And I've got to remove that because I'm going to put a new one in here. Most of it came off fairly easily. I had some problems with the springs as expected, but nothing untoward. And I've laid everything down on the pavement here, so that when I'm looking to put parts back on, I have these as guides as to their positions and the way they're aligned. Anyway, so now I've got to get to work in the back here, and luckily the video I watched on YouTube gave me exact measurements for the sizes I needed. And in fact, this is the exact key wrench that they wanted you to use, with a 7/16 on one side and a 3/8 on the other. And I've also got this for a 1/2 inch for the bolts that undo this. This is for 7/16 is for the brake line, and the 3/8 is for the brake plug that allows you to get rid of the air in the lines. Anyway, so I'm just going to get to work on that, and we'll see how that goes. A little bit of lubricant, penetrating oil, never hurts before you start on it. And it all looks pretty rusted in me. Sorry, I can't put the camera back there, but pretty awful to look. Maybe I can put it back there. Let me try to reset and see if we can get you in there. Well, you have a privileged view. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. Oh, one thing I need to get is my glasses. Perfect. Now with my glasses I can actually see what I'm doing. And of course it's rather curious, but this does not appear to fit in any way. Not in any way. This is not the right wrench. So far every step that I've watched has been rather filled with inconsistencies, shall we say. Now this is pretty good. So this should be this. Maybe. Oh, look at that! It's rust! Oh man, it's a lot of rust, and those brake lines look really fragile. So, let me tell you, this is going to be an adventure not breaking the brake line, I think. And if I do break the line, that's a whole pile more work, which I don't think I want to undertake. Alright, here we go. Well, instead of doing loosening, it just slipped. So let's go back to the 3/8 and see if the 3/8 will fit on that. Nope. Might have to use a pair of pliers on that, and I don't like that idea. But this is definitely loose. I could certainly use something tighter than that. So 7/16. Well, it's not going to be much tighter than that, so it would have to be 13, 30 seconds. 13, 30 seconds. Well, wish me good luck on that one. I'm going to go see if I can find that. Alright, I came back with these. Couldn't find 13, 30 seconds. That seems impossible, so I decided I'd try looking in metrics and just give it a shot on something here. Okay, so that's not going to work, and that's 3/8. We already know that 3/8 is too small. Okay, what's this one? That's another 3/8. Great. So glad that we could double determine that. Well, that feels loose. And that's an 11. So that sort of tells me that a 10 would be great. And I bet you I don't have a 10 here. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, alright, so a 10 is what we want. Let me go see if I can find a 10. Alright. I found this, an adjustable wrench. No 10, found a 9, but no 10, and I find lots of other 3/8. So that's just great. What? Let's get that as tight as we can. Oh! There she goes. Okay. Let's play with that a little bit, because it wants to turn the brake line, and that's bad news. Because we don't want to move that brake line in any way. Oh, so let's try a bit more penetrating oil. Now that's loosened up. All right. So, well, now that it's loosened up, we can maybe go with the 7/16 there, whatever. Oh, no, we can't. It is just slipping. That's just awful. Man, that is so loose. It's just crazy. Oh. And despite my close-up glasses, I still can't see. I think I'm fogging up or something. Well, at least it's loose. Well, that brake line being still connected to it, that's a problem. That's a big problem. Let's keep drowning it in lubricating oil. Let's hit it a little bit. Well, it doesn't feel like the metal's all gone. Okay, let's give this a shot again.
Okay, that's as tight as I get it. Perhaps I can come over here. Perhaps I can turn it like that. Got myself pretty tight there. Oh, well, that might be good news. Maybe. Looks like some stuff moved. It felt like it did. Pretty challenging step, this one. Really don't want to break the brake line, and it's moving all over the place. Oh, look at that. I've got a brake line hole. I can see it right here. Oh well. Well, that's a big problem. So as soon as I touched that brake line, it started leaking. So I've got a mess. I've got brake line all over the driveway, and I'm gonna have to replace the brake line. So good thing is I don't have to try to jiggle with it and not break it, because it's broken. So I'm waiting for somebody to come pick me up, and we're going to go out and buy another brake line. I'm going to have to bend it by myself. I didn't anticipate doing that. But now I'm going to try to take off the lovely bolts right here that are holding the brake cylinder inside here. So once again, a bit of penetrating oil wouldn't go amiss. There you go, getting my big head in the way. It is amazing when I watch that video. There we go. None of that nonsense. When I watched that video, there were none of these problems were evidenced. But I think my truck is very old. So, all right. There we go, number 2. Now they said I'd probably have to jiggy this thing off. So let's reset that camera and see if we have to jiggy. Alright, so well, that was jigging. Alright. Well, that's a success, I guess. We got that part off. So now we can start working on rebuilding or cleaning. That's our next step, I guess, is to clean all this off.
Well, it's next morning. I stopped filming at the point about, I think the camera was inside the tire well, and I was working on the brakes, and you heard me say, well, oh, I think my brake line broke, and it broke. Yes, all right. I had moved it the tiniest bit, and that thing was just ready to go. And so it broke. So that was the first of my problems. I had to replace the brake line then, which in a way was a godsend, because if you take a look at these bits here, oops, these bits, they are rusted, and there's no way I could disconnect this and this are two separate parts, and there's no way that these two are coming apart. Any attempt to try to turn this was turning the rod, and it was causing breaks. And when I broke the line, it was, the movement was like a couple of centimeters this way, a couple of centimeters that way, you know, like not even an inch of movement overall. You know, it was once like that, and I only did it Three times. Once down, once up, very carefully, you know, nice and slow, nothing fast, just a quick check, and there it was leaking. So I had to go out and buy some new line, and this is what new line looks like. So you get this bar, and it's got a floating knob on this side and a floating knob on that side. And the problem is you've got to bend it to the shape of the original bar. They don't come pre-bent for you. Maybe that's an original manufacturer's part or something like that. But the bends in it are, let me get it for you. I'll be right back. Here it is. So if you take a look at this thing, okay, just follow that through. Follow those angles. Oh, there you go. There's another one. There's another one. Plus there's two ends on that I cut out. But it's also not straight, right? It goes sideways as well. So this thing, got my fingers all dirty now. This thing, I tried to bend it. I thought I could tackle it and bend it. Just, I've got the original. I can just copy the bends and go put it on. Well, I bent it once, and okay, it wasn't as tight. You buy a little pipe bender thing, you know, and you just bend it, and you gotta have the pipe bender, because otherwise you can't just bend it with your hands. It'll kink, and then you'll have another leak. You just gotta get rid of this stuff on my hands. So I bent it once. I bent it the second time, and the second time was a bit farther off the original angle than I wanted, and it took me quite a while to get it close, and then I had to go on another angle, but out in the other direction. And I have to say, I thought my mind was pretty good with that stuff, but that just went beyond me. I could not figure out at all. But I figured out maybe I've bent it enough that I can stick it in there anyways, not bent, and bend it on the spot. You know, as long as I can get that nib in, screw it in there. So I got the nib in and screwed it in. I managed to do that and get the piece in there. And then later on I went in and I bent it, and you know, I have to say I'm pretty happy of my efforts. I'll try to show you a little scan of that. But anyway, it's not the best, but it worked. I mean, I had the right length, and well, almost the right length, and there's a bit of an extra curve in there to make it fit perfectly. Anyways, but you know, it was one of those days where absolutely every step of this went wrong. And although I would have liked to film it, all you would have seen is me screaming and ranting and raving, because I really lost my temper. I thought I was then like at the beginning, you know, the first one methodically solved the problem, but then it's the second one and methodically solved that problem, and the third one and the fourth one. At some point, I just was getting tired, I guess, and I ran out of Zenism. I started really losing it. I remember being in the corner over there at some point, screaming at the top of my lungs, "I want a hammer!" So, and I found my hammer, and it was here. And you know why I wanted the hammer? Because I wanted to smash this stupid little thing. Anyway, so what happened here is I watched the video, and the video said because I finished the brakes, I got right to the end, and all I needed to do was do the bleeding, and I was trying to prepare for the bleeding because I was trying to go get my partner to come in and just pump the brakes while I did the bleeding at the back, and I wanted to be ready, so just come in and just press that brake when I tell you. Nothing else. I wanted to be completely ready. Anyways, I bought a bottle called a brake line kit, and it's got these little rubber tubes, and you stick it onto the nib, you know, you stick it on the nib, and then it goes down into the tube and through the tube into the bottle, and that way you don't get any oil dripping all over the place when you're doing this. However, the technique that they had for that was, and they call this kit a deluxe kit. Let's see, I'm not going to tell you whose kit it is, but where did I read that? A deluxe one-man kit, they call this. Well, this piece of rubber is too small to go over this nib. So they've got an attachment, a little black thing that you stick into this. Let me go closer. And there's a little black thing that you stick into this, and it allows you to push the black tube that's sticking out. It's like a little cone right into the hole of the nib, and so I set it up. I pushed the little black tube in there, and it says seat that in securely. So I pushed it in, and right away something happened, and I have to say I don't even remember what it was. It's my fault because it's me who's there. Who else is there, right? But I don't know. I moved. I slipped. The nib fell off, and it's this big. It's black. It looks like a crack in the pavement underneath the car, the truck. So I couldn't see it off the cuff. But there was a second nib. So I went and got the second nib, and I went to put it in, and it wouldn't go in. It just wouldn't go in. And then I started thinking, and how could that be? And well, the first nib, the first tip, had broken off and was now stuck inside my little nib. And if you take a look at how this little nib works, you've got an outlet pipe here, and on the other side you've got this tiny little hole. You can see that there, where the brake fluid comes in. So effectively what's happened now, and you see this is closed off on this side, so there's no way to push whatever's in there out. So what's happening now is that effectively the plastic piece has gone right into the end and is now blocking that little round hole. So I'm not going to be able to ever use this nib unless I get the plastic out. So, and to make things worse, this nut size, though the video I watched said 7/16, a 7/16 floats on this. It just floats. It doesn't even touch the edges. A 3/8 doesn't even go on. And I need a number 10 metric wrench, I believe, for this. I think that's the size that this is. Because it's the only size that, an 11 doesn't fit, a 9 doesn't fit, and, it's got to be a 10. And I don't have a 10. I have everything else. I don't have a 10. So, okay. Anyway, so today I came up with the idea that I could take a drill bit, put it in my drill press or use my drill, and just drill out the plastic. And this is the closest fitting drill bit I've got. So I'm going to try that to see if I can drill out the plastic out of there. Maybe I can pull it out and clean it out. That's my best hope today. And otherwise I have to go out and buy another nib. Anyways, I didn't really want to make this video to show you how to do the brakes perfectly and you get this great instrument, how-to video on how to do the brakes. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And for me, reality is far different than the video I watched. They didn't have any brake line problems. In fact, looking at their brake line, it looked really nice and new. No rust at all. I don't know where that vehicle was. They took care of it or something like that. But mine is an old rust bucket, and everything on it is rusted, and if you look at it, it falls apart. And the brake line is no exception, and in fact, it's guaranteed to do that. They all rust. It's just unbelievable. Anyways, so it has just been a series of problems and difficulties. However, throughout the process, I have learned a lot about how to do the brakes, and I'm fairly sure that when I do the other side, it's not going to take me an entire day like it took me today, but it's going to take me just about an hour. So I'm going to try to videotape that part of it so that you can get to see me looking all professional and efficient and everything, and saying, this is how you do this, and use this trick instead of that, and it'll be because I screamed and ranted and raved for hours on this side trying to figure out what was going on. Anyways, so today let's get on to it, and I just want to try to get this finished because I am very achy. I'm late in starting. It's going to rain later on today, so there's a bit of pressure to get this job done. So let's go and get it done.